withstand constitutional scrutiny. But I think there's more to it than that. I think the left has always placed churches in the target zone because they want to diminish the rights, the constitutional rights, particularly of Christians, because they see many Christians opposing their particular agenda. And so they want to shrink the reach and the power of churches in California.
Hi, this is Greg. You know me, Greg Valentine. I'm here in New York. And I'll turn the volume down a little bit. Pretty much, I just wanted to talk to you about a couple things real quick. Since last time we spoke, I was making some creatures and pretty much been through a lot of things. One of the things I wanted to say is that we had a really wonderful Sunday. On Sunday, we went to a friend of ours, invited us over to their house, and we had a great time. That person had, they were musically inclined, and they played the piano for us. It was a baby grand piano, and it was also one of those things where we got a chance to spend a lot of time just talking with them and getting to know them, and it was great. It was like how we became friends was because we met at the Olive Garden, and there's an Olive Garden not too far from here where I met. And in the Olive Garden, there was a part where, my wife, she met this little old lady, and this little lady, she had like, she wasn't wearing a mask or anything, and she's a nurse, and she's not a retired nurse, she's an actual nurse. And she was actually, she started talking to us about some of the things that were, that she'd been through, and so it was really cool because I was sitting in the car. I just got done with one of my chiropractic sessions and, trying to realign me, to get me better. And what so happened was like, I was sitting in the car waiting for some time, and after that I was like, let me go see what's up. So I went over there and I saw my wife was talking to this lady, and she was such a nice little lady, nice little lady, she's about 82 years old. And anyway, long story short, she invited us over to her house. She said, come over to my house and everything like that. So we went over to her house. The whole family went over. And she made this nice old meal for us. It was beautiful, nice, wonderful meal. And it was like, one of those things where, she just showed hospitality. What happened with it, she said she'd been so bored. She has family, she has children, she has kids and everything like that. Some of which are afraid to come visit, because of this whole thing with the CV. And then, so what happened, she's been very lonely, very lonely. So we were able to go and visit, and she made this nice meal for us. She made a nice old, Italian meal. She's an Italian lady, and they say about Italians like to make a lot of good meals with sauce, She made like a big old, like a Mediterranean dish type of thing, It was very nice. And it was, had like scallops, and it was shrimp, and it was, macaroni, and, it was spaghetti. I think angel hair spaghetti and all that. And it was such a wonderful time. Oh my goodness. So it's like, people don't usually invite strangers over to their house, and we're a stranger, But like she invited us over, and it was just like really cool to get a chance to just kind of spend some time talking with her. And she was such a wonderful person. She told us about her life. And I can't tell you all the details about her life and stuff like that, but a lot of the details were like, she was such a wonderful person. And so she gave us like, she gave me this, I made one of these little creatures for her because it's like, this, I like making these things, and it just kind of just comes out of my soul, and just give somebody something that's really quick. You can give them a nice little dinosaur or a creature or whatever. And in this case, it was nice because I got a chance to make her a little something. Her daughter was there, so, I don't think it's like just by herself. We and a family, maybe a big family of 6 people, and her by herself. Her daughter was there, just to make sure, this is New York, So it was cool, and then we had such a good time talking. We talked so much. It was such a good time. It was like we got there around 5 o'clock. We didn't leave till like almost like 11 o'clock. We just spent some time talking. It was such a good time. The kids, my wife and daughter, they have like allergies to cats and stuff like that. So what happened? But they had a cat there, a really nice cat. And one of the things about cats was like it was like a really beautiful cat that they had, and it was like a one-eye cat. Like one eye, it was like a cyclops type of one eye in the center, but it was like a cat, it was kind of like a really cool cat, type thing, where you got a chance to like, what's the word, you got a chance to see this cat, and you got a chance to like enjoy this cat, and it was great. The kids loved it, absolutely loved this cat. So, but we can't have a cat because, we just can't do it, because if we did, it would be very bad for us, Anyway, so for the most part, though, it was one of those things where I just totally had a good time. And then, I guess I was rambling, but I just wanted to say that, we had a good time, and there's a lot of good things that happened. And, I found a lot of things about this thing in terms of this. It's been a very interesting week. And so, one of the things that's interesting about this week is that, we found out there's actually different mandates you can actually go to and use, if you want to go ahead and defend yourself when you have to go this whole mask wearing thing. You can actually defend yourself, and we found different ways to do that. But it's like, one of the ways you can do it is just pretty much print out the bylaws. You get the bylaws from the state and just print it out. And so I did. Thank you, Peggy Hall from the Truth America, the Healthy America, healthyamerican.com. Where's that? Healthyamerican.org. And she gave us something about where you can get information from. Like, this is like one of the statutes of the city of New York. It's actually a legit paper. It is the statutes. Different statutes and the different executive orders, so you get a chance to actually print out these executive orders. So when you go to a place, you have information you can present, and the information talks about, if you have a health condition. If you have a health condition, it has these talks about how you're protected under the law if you have a health condition that requires you not to wear a mask. If you are wise, you will print one of these out, and one of the things that's really wonderful about this thing is they have a lot of good parts to it, and one of the parts that that you're protected. This protects you if you have a health condition that protects you from having to wear a mask. And so the thing is that sometimes you run into a person, and when you run into different people, you have a situation where you want to ask yourself, should I educate this person? Should I spend time educating this individual, or should I just leave them as is? And it's like kind of like the thing in the Bible says, whoever is ignorant, let him be ignorant still. Whoever is wise, let him be wise still. And it's kind of one of those things where you want a person and you try and encourage them, but sometimes you're just like, you're not sure, because you figure, should I spend some time right now educating this person? Because if I don't educate this person, the person's going to be stuck in their ways and stuck in their mode, and however they are, they're going to be stuck. But if you open your mouth and start talking with them, you get a chance to have some understanding. So it's like, I don't know, it's just like sometimes it's good to kind of like spend some time kind of working your way into a situation where you can talk to that person. But see, everybody's so like, not everybody, but many people are so straight up offended if you don't wear a mask that they won't even hear you no matter what you say, because the whole fear factor of it all. Once a person's afraid, they don't want to, they can't hear you, because fear is it's pumping them full of cortisol, and and adrenaline and cortisol, and they're just like on high alert because they think that this little paper clothy thing is going to keep a quote unquote deadly virus away from you. So what happens is that I was watching this video, and this guy took a spray bottle, and he put it up against the mask, and he sprayed it, and it went right through the mask. I was like, what? These people, they have us. So the thing is, what do we have to do? What we have to do with our situation and our fears, we have to ask God to give us wisdom, because the Bible says whoever's afraid has not been made perfected in love. And so let me tell these people out here real quick. I can give them my card. Hey, you guys just pulling in? You pulling in? I have a thing till 8 o'clock. You want it? All right, here you go. I got a ticket I'm giving 8 o'clock. No, you don't have to worry about numbers. Yeah, when you park here, it's not about numbers. It's about having the ticket in the car. So you're good. Yeah. So yeah, so pretty much that's kind of the situation of the scenario. So you have it where it's like, that's one of those things where, I'm just like, I think about like the fact that, you can help people, and you could be a beacon of light, a beacon of hope to people, but also you can be, could continue the fear. And you don't want to continue the fear. One of the things about this situation, I'm making an Allosaurus, by the way, because Allosaurus is Allorex from, dinosaur candidates. I have to show you the other ones real quick. Fear is contagious, So this here you got Mallory, she's so huge. Mallory. Then you have, you're going to like this one. I think you're going to like this one, because I really like this one. This one here is Ankylo Prime. Ankylosaurus Prime. Yes, I made an Ankylosaurus. Way better than the one before that I had. So Ankylosaurus Prime. You have that there. And the next one I have, last one is, this is Eunice. This is a Eunice. Eunice euplocephalus. And this is Eunice euplocephalus. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually putting together my Fiverr page. So if any of you are interested in any of my my creatures, what I can do, I actually can make one for you. But I have it on my Fiverr page that's going to come up soon. I'm in the process of getting that completed, and all the little details that goes with that. But for the most part, though, here is Eunice, and here is Ankylosaurus Prime. Ankylosaurus Prime, they're married. They're married together. And what happens is that they have a kid called Junior. And Junior, I haven't finished making Junior yet, but for the most part, though, what I was going to do was, I had that little symbol thing with, here's the Allosaurus, you got an Ankylosaurus, and you have Senator Mallory. I haven't finished up. Senator Mallory, Macrurosaurus. Anyway, so what happens is I'm gonna like put these out there for purchase and stuff like that. I'm gonna purchase of these, but I can make some for you if you're interested in that. And so what happens, like, this has been one of those things. This has been like a really cool experience for me, because when I'm making dinosaurs, it's like, who doesn't like dinosaurs? But it's like, not only that I can make dinosaurs, I can actually make pretty much anything. By the grace of God, I can make anything, and that's really a cool skill to have, especially. And so, like I was seconds or 15 minutes. It's been really good. I got a chance to visit some friends. We got a chance to go to a park, and we had a bunch of friends. We met in a co-op group where we homeschool our children. And so what happens is co-op groups that we are part of, And so incidentally, what happens when you meet other kids and everything like that. So it's good because you get to find like-minded people who are willing to spend time with you. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do, I just want to listen to radio a little bit as I make this, so we can listen to radio and get some of my actual responses to radio. So I don't know what's gonna come up or what I'm gonna talk about, but here we go. This is 70. The answer am. But here we go. So this is pretty much a commercial. One of the things I like about making these things, these creatures here, is again, you can make pretty much anything if you just have the skill, or just take a chance. I personally have a hard time taking a chance with certain artwork and stuff like that. I'm always afraid I'm going to mess up and just destroy like a canvas or something. The canvas for me is the scariest thing. But for the most part, though, one of the things I think is really cool is if you can have a masking tape. Masking tape, you can make anything, and you don't have to keep going with it. The more you go with it, okay, there's nothing inside here but tape. Intensity you have in Ankylosaurus, the Ankylosaurus, and then you have Euplocephalus. And the Euplocephalus is it's a walking tank. It's supposed to be like way fast, very strong, and her name is Eunice. So this is Eunice, Euplocephalus. So when you put them side by side together, you see that there's one has a giant system of scales and everything like that. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, so I like this one a lot, really do. So if you guys want me to make one of these for you, just let me know. I'm gonna have my Patreon and that as well. Patreon as well as my my Fiverr account will be active soon. I actually have things listed already, and pretty much the sky's the limit in terms of what I can make. Except things that are really violent. I don't want to do anything violent or really anything sexual in nature, like sex act or anything like that with these creatures, because don't even think of it, okay? Just make sure this is creature. So anyway, I have those. I have these too. I still have the whole pack of the Campsognathus, right, or the combies for short. And so pretty much they're pretty cool. I gave one away. And then here's Junior. I'm working on Junior for I gotta put a shell on him and everything like that. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna keep scrambling because hey, why not? So let's listen to the radio a little bit. And I'm gonna keep making stuff, okay?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. Praise God for you. My question and huge concern is what's to keep them from labeling a minister or a pastor bringing a sermon as chanting?
Oh, listen. We were just talking about that because in some churches, liturgical churches, even the delivery of the homily is done in such a way with emotion. I'll go right to Wes Smith on this. I think it's perfect. That I don't know if it's necessarily singing or chanting, but
they have a thing where you can't sing in church
it's a half a step away from that. And Wes, this idea that you're separating out the recitation and the worship and the chanting from the worship service itself is very dangerous.
Absolutely, and it's unprecedented. I had real reservations and questions when a number of mayors and governors have been trying to restrict, how many people can go to church, how many can gather in a building. One
more restriction. Every day they have another one.
But this California case goes way beyond that. It's not only how many people can gather in a building, it's the free exercise of religion is at stake. What you can actually do, when you're in the building. The COVID pandemic has brought about the imposition of extraordinary measures, and I get that, and I think religious people get that, religious leaders get that, but we have to be attentive to civil liberties, to religious freedom, and that any restrictions are generally applicable to all businesses and activities, and they don't exhibit discrimination, and that's not what is happening here. Exactly. I was reading over a memo, just researching radio today, William Barr on a memo to U.S. attorneys on April 27th, made a statement, the Constitution is not suspended during a time of crisis.
Exactly.
That's a blinding flash of the obvious. That what's happening is protests and some shopping venues, like you said, liquor stores, secular activities, they cannot be given a pass.
Right.
While religious groups are not giving a pass. Restrictions and orders have to be neutral when applied to secular versus religious activities. You're talking about the church activities. I was thinking about it this morning. I'm a member of the Diocese of Atlanta. Individual pastors and bishops and rabbis and other religious leaders, they are making various restrictions depending on their congregation.
You don't stand.
Locally, they have the authority to do this, but the government has absolutely no authority to dictate religious practices and conduct.
Governors have no law. They can't make laws. You know that.
I can't imagine, Jay, a more plain and egregious transgression against the First Amendment and the religious freedom that is foundational to our constitutional republic, and it simply cannot stand. As you said earlier, it is actually targeting churches, and the integrity as well as the authority of our Constitution is on the line here in this matter.
No, it really is, Wes. I want to go to Than Bennett, because Than, I'm thinking right now, I know things are very, and I think it'd be important for people to understand, the summer is always slower in Washington, generally. I mean, they're not in recess. July is usually pretty active. August is recess. But I think, look, we know we're dealing with a very serious situation with this pandemic. What is Washington? Tell people what Washington, D.C. is like right now.
Yeah, well, Washington, D.C. has been the epicenter of both of these things, Jay. I mean, the COVID pandemic has been big here. Obviously, there have been protests. There have been demonstrations. It's been hot and heavy in that sense. You know, Jay, both the House and the Senate are back in their districts for 2 weeks, but in many ways, that's where a lot of the plans that are developed in Washington, D.C. play out. I mean, I mentioned earlier Jim Clyburn talking about this being an opportunity to transform, and I think about the statement that the D.C. Advisory Board put out as well. They called this a once-in-a-generation opportunity to thoughtfully build toward a more equitable, resilient, and vibrant city. Jay, that's what pushes governors like Governor Newsom to do what he has done. And I would just go back maybe real quickly. About 6 weeks ago, we broke the news that President Trump had declared places of worship essential, because as the reopening started, governors like Governor Newsom did not want to treat places of worship as essential. That federal guidance, Jay, was key. But in order for them to follow it, it's actually got to trickle down to these regulations we're talking about today. So while the members might not be here, Jay, their impact is still being felt on this.
Is there a sense, then, that this pandemic is a change that could have some permanent ramifications? I think it does. I'll
Patriot Act,
but I want to get your sense.
Patriot Act.
Like even in the House and Senate rules.
Come out with some laws.
I don't think there's any question but that there is. There's already been a change as far as proxy voting in the United States House. I think that will continue for the rest of the calendar year. I don't think you will see a majority of the House of Representatives present in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, you can't even go and visit
probably
the
until there's a vaccine, Jay. But yeah, I think there's going to be a new normal. And look, we've said this too. I mean, we want people to be responsible, but many of those decisions properly should be made by the congregates. And of course, they have to. The government can't apply them in a discriminatory fashion.
People gotta apply their own risk. You can't force somebody else to have a risk.
Jordan and I right here in this.
Even what do you call the cigarette label has a little risk on it. It says the cigarette label says if you have this causes cancer in the state of California, you know, and this is known to cause cancer, and yabba dabba do and all that stuff. And what happens is that people still smoke, so like they don't stop them from smoking, you know. It's like they just like
came in session. We stood up.
Put a mask on.
I went and made the argument. I was helping with documents and whatnot.
Put some clothes on.
There's another case that we're going to have at the Supreme Court, likely
wear different shoes
involving that
you can't tell me that.
The emoluments.
Tell me put a mask on.
Probably my guess would be filed, in the next 30 or 45 days. Probably argued in November or December.
I don't
think they're going to be back.
Doesn't appear like it.
I think we're going to be doing it by phone again.
Yeah,
it's just fine, but I mean, at least they did it.
I think that, Florida just now said that schools must go back.
Okay, which, by the way, can I say something on that?
And I don't know. I think that's
what
trying
does that
to
even
give people something so they can plan for life.
So.
Because it was, as I said, we get back out of July 4th. I got the email today, too, from my daughter's school. With lots of caveats, but we're going to try to go back. And that is so people can try to make plans for life.
And look, for the economy's sake, I think it's important that schools return if they can. And mental health. But it's everything. I think, Wes, the thing is, you're in the military. You always have to have a plan B. There has to be a contingency.
Contingency plan?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's understandable and that's reasonable.
Valentinian contingency.
But I think the left is using the pandemic to gain more government control.
Yes.
And think about it, the American people, and thankfully the ACLJ is helping people do this. They need to stand up and take note of this, that basically what some states and mayors are saying is that you can walk down a grocery store aisle, but you can't walk down the aisle of a church. That you can go outside and chant and scream and yell and sing in a protest, but you can't sing in a church.
You're going to get more ridiculous. I tell you, you're going to get more and more ridiculous.
And again, it's simply
the ridiculous stuff doesn't end.
No, what Wes said is really true. I mean, it's true. You can constitutionally go to the streets and sidewalks and protest and chant and sing.
Yes.
And walk down the street.
Exactly.
But you cannot
go to private business.
Do the same activity inside a church, even if you limit the numbers, even if you socially distance, even if you wear a mask.
Everything. One more thing.
You can't walk down that aisle, chant, or sing.
So I'm going to listen to 10 Wins.
That tells you where the constitutionality issue here has been raised, and that's why the ACLJ is engaged in it. All right. Want to try to get a call before the break? You want to wait?
Let's go. Let's take them when we come back. We'll take the calls in our last segment of the broadcast.
I got a good question on Facebook.
Yeah.
This would be for you.
Typically takes on extreme legal measures that look extreme to most of the country, and then 20 years later, you have the same law in your state. If it wasn't stopped.
Exactly.
And that's why at the American Center for Law and Justice we said we're gonna do everything we can to stop this. That this is not right. That California cannot target churches, cannot come after just religious groups and say, well, now we're going to mandate you must stop singing, you must stop chanting. We're going to make sure we're going to take out most of your religious services. So now they're picking and choosing. What parts of religious services are okay?
You see that?
That is not allowed under our Constitution.
That is ridiculous.
It's not acceptable.
They have to fight that. You want to attend church building? You're going to have to fight this.
You're giving the government that much power over your church and how you worship. Stand with us, the American Center for Law and Justice. Sign the petition at aclj.org and donate today. Double the impact your donation. We have a matching challenge. A great time to support our work as we prepare to go to court tomorrow at aclj.org. Donate today. We'll be right back.
All right, I'm going to pretend I win.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report. Wall Street taking a pause from its recent rally with stocks ending lower on economic recovery worries. Airlines were among the biggest decliners after United said reservations for travel within the coming months began to slide. The carriers also warning of potential furloughs as soon as
this week. That's because of the whole airplane thing. All these guys are just kind of blocking everybody from wherever you go.
500 down 34. And Levi's will be slashing around 700 office jobs, or around 15% of its worldwide corporate workforce, as it deals with a sharp drop in sales due to the coronavirus pandemic. The jeans maker said that the layoffs will save the company around $100 million a year and won't affect workers at its stores or factories. And Tesla stock bucking the downtrend and hitting another all-time high after Morgan Stanley upgraded the electric automaker, saying its shares could potentially surpass $2,000. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky.
A positive test while wearing a mask. Bolsonaro's often gone into public without one, shake hands and mingle with crowds. Brazil has more than 1.5 million confirmed cases and 65,000 deaths, both second in the world after the U.S. Both numbers are considered undercounts with a lack of widespread testing. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Two longtime Republican lawmakers say they won't be attending the upcoming convention in Florida. Correspondent Ryan Burrow has more.
U.S. Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, the oldest Republican in the Senate, is 86. He says he'll skip the August Republican convention in Jacksonville because of what he calls the virus situation. Senator Grassley is third in line of presidential succession after the vice president and House Speaker. He's attended the RNC every year dating back to 1980. Senator Lamar Alexander of Tennessee, who is 80, is also out. He released a statement to ABC News saying he will not be attending because he believes the delegate spot should be reserved for those who have not had the privilege before, as he has had.
With news on 651. Time for traffic and transit. Here's Greg Rice.
Oh, back to Brooklyn, backed up on the westbound belt over to Erskine Street. That is where an accident has at least one lane knocked up, and we see the cars just stacked up to Queens as a result. Eastbound side starting to slow at the rubbernecking from Pennsylvania. And the other issue into the borough is a familiar one. Outbound Gowanus, what a tough ride from the belt spread.
See, the thing is, like, when you listen to the news, right, you have to find a news broadcast that'll listen to a different point of view, because if you listen to one set of news, what will happen is that you're just going to get one kind of thought, because, you know, as we think, so we behave. So, you know, if you're going to think that there's no rights for you and you have to do exactly what they say, and then eventually they start contradicting themselves, and you listen to all the contradictions, and you eventually get to the point where you say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I just can't listen to contradictions. I have to kind of fight the system, because it's like, you know, I'm not fighting the system like violently. I'm going to fight the system like with common sense, and then, you know, pretty much, you know, with the laws and stuff like that. What happens is that, you know, you start looking at the situation and you start saying to yourself, you know what, this is something that if we don't do this, if we let them, if they keep advancing with whatever ridiculous executive order they may have.
I would say rapidly. under these pandemic situations, under changing circumstances, where you are reasonably afraid. It's reasonable to have fear right now, but you've got to remember what principles we stand under in our country. And live free or die is not just something you see on a flag. It's not just something to wear on a rally. It means something in America. It means you take the risk of freedom, because it is better to live free and die free than it is to live under tyranny.
There was a movie. What do you call it? Night and Day with Tom Cruise, and he said, whatever they say to you, a safe word. Oh, you'll be safe. You'll be safe. You'll be safe. That they say that they're gonna kill you. That when they say, "Oh, we'll take you to someplace safe," don't worry, we'll take you safe. That means they're gonna kill you, right? They're telling that to Cameron Diaz. Tom Cruise telling that to Cameron Diaz in the movie. And so in the situation, you have that where it's like, they're pretending. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they understand it. From the beginning, I always said that these people did not know what they were doing in the beginning, and they don't know what it is about. And so here it is. Today they said about how Lysol is actually good to kill the virus. I mean, that gave me goosebumps, because I was thinking of all the people who were just buying Lysol off the shelf, since February, and going ballistic with it. And they finally said it's approved. It was approved by the EPA, which means that all the time until yesterday, people were guessing whether it's good or not, and they were just hook, line, and sinker in the thing, So, let's go to bleach, let's go to Lysol. They just hook, line, and sinker in this thing, So anyway, long story short, I just want to say, I could talk forever on this and just listen forever. I can go for a nice drive or make some more creatures and stuff like that. But the bottom line is that I gotta get going, because I gotta eat, and two, I gotta get home. And one of the things I wanted to say pretty much is thank God for the opportunity to have my family.
That decision. Yeah, by the way, we've hit over 50,000 people on a petition right now. It's at 50,447 signatures of the petition. Don't ban singing in church. That is in 24 hours. We launched that petition while we were on the air yesterday. So as you're hearing this, that's 24 hours. Over 50,000 you have already signed that petition at aclj.org.
I was going to say, Dan, we deal with petitions all the time. That is an impressive number in 24 hours.
I'm going to end the conversation now. I just want to say thank you so much for listening with me.
Also, understand this.
Pretty much want to say God bless you, and watching for crazy people.
And say
thank you for listening.
Although this is directed towards California, the Department of Justice says they're monitoring.
Thank you, for hanging on for so long. And pretty much, watch out. I'm gonna have a Fiverr page open soon. I can make some of these cool creatures and cool figures for you. Because things have been, good, and I just thank God for my shoulders getting a lot better. I'm able to do a lot more stuff with it, but I keep working towards lifting and stuff. Anyway, long story short, thank you so much again. God bless you, and wait for our next one.
Republicans and Democrats are going to be offended by the overstepping that Governor Newsom has done here. You won't find
Bye.
much offense on the left in Washington.